Alright, how's it going? So, Lego and Marvel worked together on some short films, and I decided to watch them because honestly I just had no better way to kill 20 minutes. So I went into this knowing it was targeted more towards children. It was definitely a kids' entertainment thing. I mean, even though if you look at Marvel, they do have a lot more adult content, and they do still have their fair share of stuff for kids. Like they have a balance of stuff for kids and stuff for adults, which is cool. Personally, I'm more of a fan of their adult stuff, like the sort of stuff you see in the Marvel Cinematic Universe movies and the sort of more graphic content they have in their comics. But that's just because I'm the target demographic for that stuff, so I'm bound to enjoy it more. So, to sum it up shortly, in this short, Ultron took control of Iron Man's armor when the Avengers were about to have a party, and, I mean, rather predictably, the rest of the Avengers had to save him. As much as it was a very predictable story, it was still actually pretty enjoyable. It used a wide variety of characters, and not just the Avengers and Ultron. It also featured Ant-Man quite a bit, and a few quick cameos from other characters here and there, which I thought was a nice touch, really. They use a decent amount of comedy in it, which is mostly the sort of physical-based comedy, borderline slapstick sort of stuff, or it's just like puns if they're saying anything. All the spoken comedy is just puns. It works effectively for being a bit of kids' entertainment, but in my opinion, the puns were a bit, whatever. Like, a few of them were kind of funny, and I got a little chuckle out of some of them, but as a whole, not really the funniest things for someone of my age, but I'm sure kids would find it funny. One complaint I do have, though, is that I felt the characters seemed a bit overemphasized, and it almost felt like a little bit forced. I mean, that's not a knock at the voice acting or anything like that, because I actually found the voice acting to be pretty decent, really. Not the best voice acting I've heard, but it's far from the worst. There are a few references to the Marvel Cinematic Universe movies, just like a couple lines, couple events that reference the Avengers movie, and also references to other movies, such as there's a billboard with Groot and Rocket Raccoon from Guardians of the Galaxy on, which was kind of cool, just a little Easter egg, just pay homage to the MCU movies, which I quite liked. There were a couple sort of fourth wall break moments, which they worked, but not really the best that either Marvel or Lego have done when it comes to self-aware fourth wall break sort of comedy. But then again, Marvel made Deadpool with that, so they can't really outdo themselves on that. I think the fact that it was made in Lego, they really used it to their advantage, so they could make it very PG and very kid-friendly, with all the violence being nothing more than you see in the Lego games that are rated like for 7-year-olds combined or something, I don't remember. So the animation reminded me quite a lot of what you'd see in those Lego games, but just higher quality because higher budget. And it's a nice animation style, so it is pretty good to watch stuff like that. I enjoy watching that animation style, but this kind of felt like almost as if it could have been a 20-odd minute long cutscene in a game, and it would have fit like that the same way. For those who care, I thought the framing of the shots were pretty standard, nothing really different from the conventions you read about and see all the time in film studies, so it was framed pretty standardly. There are a few times when they used a bit of motion blur, but I felt that just felt unnatural to me. Like, the motion blur that they used just kind of felt awkward and just seemed unnatural and just didn't flow right. At least that it didn't to me. It might have just been me looking at it way too critically, but it didn't feel right to me. And also, a few of the scenes, this was a very small thing I noticed, and this may have just been the Netflix quality, not the YouTube quality of it, is a few scenes looked a bit grainy, really. Like, they sort of had a weird grain in just the backgrounds, which was noticeable to me, but most people probably just look past it as nothing. But I was looking at all the details because, I mean, I've watched it a few times now to make this video, so I just noticed these small things. As a whole, for the most part, it looked pretty nice. As I said, there was just a few instances of noticeable flaws, at least noticeable to me, maybe not noticeable to everyone, but stuff that I thought looked a bit off, a bit out of place, or just wrong. I mean, overall it was pretty good, but in terms of the stuff that Lego and Marvel have made in short films or just films in general, really, it's not their best work, but I never went into it expecting it to be. I mean, it was a fun little watch, but having to watch over it a few times to script this video, I found that I really didn't enjoy it the second time or more around. The first time was definitely the most enjoyable watch. I mean, a lot of things are enjoyable the most on the first watch, but this, I noticed it quite a lot, where I watched it once, I was like, alright, that was alright, yeah, I'll make a video on this, and I kind of noted down points while I was watching it, and then the second time came around, and I was like, okay, I need to watch it again just to get reference, and remind myself of points I didn't note the first time down, and I just found myself just like not being as entertained. And I mean, obviously the jokes aren't going to be as funny the second time around, the plot I already know what's going to happen, although I mean I basically did from the start, but it just didn't feel as fun to watch the second or third time around. I only watched it 3 times because that's all I needed. As I said, it was fun for the first time to watch, but not something I can see myself going back and watching over and over again very often, just because it was fun once, nice little watch, that's about it. I'd say it's worth a watch if you like Lego and Marvel, but don't go in expecting anything great, because if you do, you're going to be disappointed. So personally, I'd probably rate it about a 7.5 out of 10. It did its job of being a fun thing for kids to watch, which features Marvel characters in Lego. It was a fun little short film. Nice to spend 20 minutes watching, and definitely would entertain a kid for 20 minutes if they like Lego and Marvel, but it's not the sort of thing I'll be going and recommending to people that I talk to about films, other than, I mean, making this video, if you count this as a recommendation. I really do hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're new, join my Discord, follow me on Twitter, links are in the description, all that cool stuff, and I will see you in the next one. Alright guys, peace.